RMS Titanic, and I'll be reacting to a video. If you haven't seen the, if you haven't, if you have not seen the thumbnail, and in the description below it says go subscribe to Stories Travels. That's the video I'm reacting to. So let's get started.
Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Sam from Historic Travels, and welcome to another video. And as always, before we get started today, I'd just like to take a quick moment to welcome all my new subs and to thank everybody who's been leaving me comments and messages down below. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And if you would like to take a couple extra steps to help support the channel a little bit more, there's a merch store and a Patreon for this channel in the links below. Thank you guys so much for all your support. All right, everybody. So for today's video, I was planning to...
Sorry I have to do it like this. I don't have anything to make it like other people does it.
Start my complete timeline series on the RMS Queen Mary. But about 2 weeks ago, I put up a poll topic on my YouTube's community page where I asked everybody if you would rather me do my complete timeline series on the Queen Mary next, or would you rather I switch over and do my complete timeline series on the Britannic next? And boy, the Britannic won by a landslide. So everybody wants me to go ahead and finish out all of the Olympic class complete timeline series, and that I totally get. So
hold on. Sorry. Now back to your video.
We are going to do the Britannic next, and then after the complete timeline series on the Britannic is complete, I'm going to go back to the Queen Mary and do a complete timeline series on that. So that's how we're going to be handling things on this channel for the time being. And I'll still slide in the occasional Titanic episode and stuff here and there. So anyway, guys, well, hey, you guys want the Britannic series? So the Britannic series is what you are going to get. So join me today in this video as we begin the complete story of the third and final ship of the Olympic class, the complete story of the HMHS Britannic. The HMHS Britannic was the third and final ship built.
Hold on.
Of the Olympic class of ocean liners. It was the White Star Line's HMHS Britannic. The HMHS Britannic was the third and final ship built of the Olympic class of ocean liners. It was the White Star Line's intention that this ship, along with her two sisters, Olympic and Titanic, would be the biggest and most luxurious vessels on the Atlantic. It was also their intention that the Britannic would be the biggest and best ship of the Olympic class, with the construction of the Britannic improving on the designs of the Olympic and the Titanic before her. Now, if you have a sharp eye, you may have noticed that on that poster you just saw of the Olympic, the Titanic, and the Britannic, that the Britannic's name actually said gigantic on that poster. So why is this? Well, it is theorized that the Britannic was originally going to be called gigantic, but the White Star Line had this ship's name changed later on. Now, why would they do this? Well, according to the rumor, it is because of the loss of the RMS Titanic. It is theorized that because the Titanic was the biggest and most luxurious ship in the world at the time, with it sinking, the White Star Line was afraid that the name gigantic wouldn't resonate well with people, so they decided to change it. And this does make sense to me. Now, officially, the White Star Line has denied the claims that the Britannic was ever going to be called gigantic.
I'm going to stop right there. That is kind of true, but White Star Line did deny that Britannic was going to be called gigantic, whatever he said. But White Star Line denied that and said that it was going to be Britannic all along. Let's get back to your video.
Although there are some documents out there that seem to lean in the direction that the White Star Line was planning to have this ship named gigantic. Although officially, we will never know the answer for certain. Construction of the Britannic began on the 30th of November in the year 1911. Fun fact, the Britannic was actually constructed and built in the exact same slipway as the Olympic was. The Olympic was launched from this slipway almost a year before construction on the Britannic began. So that means that during the early stages of the Britannic's construction, the Britannic and its sister ship Titanic were actually together in the shipyard at Harland and Wolff, although construction on the Britannic wouldn't get that far along before the Titanic eventually left the shipyard. However, construction on the Britannic would be ultimately delayed because on April 15th, 1912, her sister ship, RMS Titanic, struck an iceberg and sank in the middle of the North Atlantic. So, because the Titanic went down the way it did, the designers at the Harland and Wolff shipyard took another look at Britannic, and then they wanted to make sure that if Britannic suffered the same amount of damage as Titanic, that the Britannic would be able to survive. Since the construction of the Britannic wasn't that far along at the time of the Titanic disaster, the shipbuilders at Harland and Wolff really didn't have that difficult of a time going back and looking at the plans of the Britannic and changing them a bit so that if the Britannic was involved in a Titanic-like scenario, the Britannic would not sink. Here are some of the design changes that they made to the Britannic following the Titanic disaster. Number one, they added a double hull to certain areas of the Britannic. Now, the entire ship didn't have a double hull. The only
That's that right there. Yeah. Britannic did have a double hull. The double hull was protecting the engine room and the boiler room. Some people believe that the double hull was always to the front and the back of the ship to protect the whole thing. But when we continue, you'll find out that's not true. Britannic was, to make the Britannic a double hull, they had to make it very more bigger than Titanic and Olympic. So that's why Britannic is known as the biggest ship ever, because Britannic is bigger than Titanic. Okay, let's get back to the video.
The areas that did were basically the midsections of the ship, more specifically the areas that protected the water.
Yep, like I said, it's the center of the ship where the double hull was to protect the boiler room and the engine rooms. And it was on both sides. Let's get back to the video.
Room and engine room from the ocean outside. This area was equipped with a double hull. And the purpose of a double hull is that if the first layer of the hull is breached, the second layer of the double hull would protect the interior sections of the Britannic from the ocean outside. So, the second thing that they had to do to the ship in order to accommodate this double hull was increase the width of the ship to 94 feet. The third change that they made to the Britannic was that of the ship's 15 watertight compartments, they increased the height of 6 of them up to B deck instead of D deck where they normally were.
Yep. Britannic's watertight doors was leafed to B deck instead of D deck. Titanic's was to E deck. That's why the water was able to spill over the watertight compartments and kept on going and making the Titanic sink more and faster. That's why she sunk. But that's not why. Titanic was so damaged she couldn't take it and she sunk. Well, back to the video.
Now, because of these changes, the Britannic could now survive her first 6 watertight compartments breached, and this ship would not sink. This is the exact same amount of damage that the Titanic had on the night that she struck the iceberg. Now, it also seems like the sinking of the Titanic may have led to one more design change to the Britannic. During the inquiries into the Titanic disaster, even though a lot of people said that the Titanic broke in two during the final moments of her sinking, officially, the inquiry stated that the Titanic did not break in two, but in fact the ship sank in one piece.
Let's stop there. Yeah, when everyone found out that Titanic sunk, some people said, "Oh, Titanic didn't break in two." Titanic is the biggest ship in the world. It's the biggest ship on the planet. She can't break in half. Well, she did. She broke in half between the second and third funnel. And the person who found Titanic confirmed that she did break in two. Because the bow and the stone I don't remember how long they said they're apart, but Titanic did break in two, and you're gonna find out why Tank didn't break in two when she sunk.
But in fact, the ship sank in one piece. However, it does seem like the designers at Harland and Wolff may have been suspicious about this. So they implemented yet one last final major change to the design of the Britannic. You see,
download the Domino's app today and become a piece of the Pie Rewards member to earn points toward free pizza.
On ships like the Titanic, there are these things called expansion joints. And the purpose of an expansion joint is to allow the superstructure of a vessel to flex while a vessel's at sea and traveling across the Atlantic, so it doesn't put so much strain on the hull of the ship. Now, in case you're wondering what part of the Titanic classifies as superstructure, it's basically the top sections of the ship right here, the areas that are painted white, that technically classifies as superstructure. Now, in the case of Titanic, this ship had two expansion joints. There was one located between the first and second funnel, and another one located between the third and fourth funnel. Now, when it comes to Britannic, its expansion joint layout is completely different. The Britannic had four expansion joints, one located between the first and second funnel, another one located between the second and third funnel, another one between the third and fourth funnel, and they had another one back here on the back section of the ship. So,
yep. Span joints, Britannic had four ascending joints, what Peter said, between the fourth and second funnel, the third and the second and third, and then the third and fourth funnel, and on the back of the stone it had one. So if Britannic were like hit an iceberg and the safety feature fails, then she'll sink, but she won't break apart. That's why it has four abseiling joints, so she doesn't break in half like her sister ship, Titanic. Well, back to the video.
Why would they make this drastic design change to the Britannic with its expansion joints? Had another one back here on the back section of the ship. So why would they make this drastic design change to the Britannic with its expansion joints? Well, officially, they never said anything about it at Harland and Wolff. But unofficially, it seems like that people think that the shipbuilders at Harland and Wolff may have been suspicious about the claims of the Titanic breaking in half. Even though they never officially stated this, if the reports about the Titanic breaking in half were true, then the shipbuilders at Harland and Wolff may have been worried about the structural integrity of their... If the reports about the Titanic breaking in half were true, then the shipbuilders at Harland...
Also, you can't see it, but it's blueprints of Britannic, but the camera won't show it.
And Wolff may have been worried about the structural integrity of their ships. So they may have added these extra expansion joints as their way of just making sure that if the reports of the Titanic breaking in half were true, that it didn't happen to the Britannic. So, as I said, officially we can't prove this, but unofficially, this claim does make a lot of sense to me. Now, once the design changes to the Britannic's hull were figured out, construction on this ship resumed immediately. And as far as the actual construction of the Britannic's hull was concerned, the construction went very smoothly and very efficiently. And then, on February 26, 1914, the Britannic slid down the slipway and entered the water for the first time. There was a huge celebration to celebrate the launch of the Britannic. Tons of people showed up in order to watch the brand new White Star Line ship enter the water for the first time. The White Star Line even hosted a dinner party afterwards to celebrate the launch. So the launch of the Britannic marked the beginning of what the White Star Line hoped would be the life of their biggest and best ship built to date. Once the Britannic entered the water, the fitting out process of this vessel began. And for those of you who don't know, the fitting out process of a vessel is basically the time where a ship gets her engines installed, her boilers, her funnels, all the stuff the ship needs to become a passenger liner is installed during her fitting out process. This also includes her furnishings and everything that a ship needs to keep her passengers comfortable. And in the case of Britannic, this was also the time period where the ship received her last and probably her most critical brand new safety feature. Now, this brand new safety feature that they added to the Britannic was something called a gantry davit. Now, for those of you who don't know, a davit is basically
Britannic got a gantry davit. It's these little cranes that you see on top of the Britannic. Those cranes help to get the lifeboats off the ship if the ship is sinking. And there's and these crane like steering davits, like cranes. These are what's special is about them. They are electric. They're not manual. Manual means you have to crank it, like you see in the Titanic movie. They're cranking it to make the lifeboats go down. That's a manual crane, David. Britannic had electric. Let's get back to the video.
Basically those cranes that they have on a boat deck of a ship like the Titanic, and the purpose of these is to lower a ship's lifeboat over the side. The Titanic had them, the Olympic had them, all ships had these. But what made the Britannic's davits so special is that the gantry davits were electric. All the davits on Olympic and Titanic had to be operated manually, meaning that there had to be a man right there, and they had to be turning a crank or using a rope to lower a lifeboat over the side. But with the Britannic, the gantry davits were completely electric. Think of them like giant electric cranes. That's the best way I can describe them. This is a picture of the gantry davits as seen on Britannic. And one other thing about these davits that makes them so much better than the old school davits, besides them being electric, is now they're much larger than an old school davit, meaning that now you could store lifeboats on the center of a ship's boat deck and literally just stack lifeboats one on top of the other. And if you need to get at them, all you have to do is turn on this davit's electric crane, have the davit come back towards the center of the ship, pick a lifeboat up, haul it over the ship's side, and lower it away. And then just keep repeating the process. Think about how much more efficient this is in lowering lifeboats away than it was doing it the old-fashioned way like we saw on Titanic.
Britannic's funnel was not actually going to be the full color. It's supposed to be this color and blue, but it's all yellow or gold, whichever you call the paint on the funnels. They were supposed to be gold and blue, but I guess White Star Line wanted the whole funnel to be gold or yellow, whichever we call it. Let's get back to the video.
The manual davits. And because now you could actually store lifeboats on a center of a ship and just stack them on top of each other, think about how many more lifeboats you can now add to a ship's boat deck because of these davits. So as you can plainly see, these electric gantry davits were a huge improvement over the old school davits that you see on the Titanic. Now, the gantry davits weren't installed on Britannic just to replace the old school manual lifeboat davits. The Britannic would have these as well. But the gantry davits were there to more or less increase the number of lifeboats that could be held on the Britannic. And they wanted to have these on here so that if the need should arise, the gantry davits and the old school manual lifeboat davits could work together with each other to ensure that the people on Britannic would have more than enough means to get off the Britannic should an emergency come up. So honestly, With all the design changes made to the Britannic following the Titanic disaster, and with the addition of these brand new gantry davits, the Britannic is looking like it's going to be one of the safest ships on the Atlantic. And I'm sure there were a lot of people out there who were looking forward to sailing on her once construction was complete. However, these people wouldn't get a chance because in August of 1914, as construction on the Britannic was still underway, something would happen in the world that would change the fate of the Britannic forever. Anyway, guys, I think this is a good place to pause the Britannic timeline series for now. Now, I know I didn't state it at the beginning of the video, but this is going to be a multi-part series just like I did with the Olympic and Titanic. So this was part 1 of the Britannic series. I think there will be probably 3 parts in all for the Britannic because, as we all know, the Britannic had a very short career. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed part 1. Stand by for part 2. And, guys, be sure to leave this video a like. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe because it really helps out the channel. And guys, keep doing what you're doing. You guys are awesome. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much for watching. You all stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, everybody. Hey, if you'd like...
That's a nice video. We learned so much about the Britannic. Now so Britannic stories coming out. It's gonna be like what he did, but a little different. It's not gonna show the thumbnail like you see on this video. It's gonna be different. And yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy this video. If you're new to your channel, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And new videos are coming out soon. See ya.